Well, too late.
We're ready.
We have to be ready now.
We'll do it live.
Yeah. It's the end of the year, and it's plugged on time. The pluggies.
It's the pluggies.
It's the pluggies. Let's get plugged at the pluggies.
Cheers.
Yeah. We're going to talk Game of the Year. We came together with our top 10 games of 2017, so this is like the official plugged on list of these are the 10 best games. Now, we didn't play everything, but we played a lot of shit this year. And this year was, without a doubt, one of the best years.
Not even all of us played everything on this list.
Yeah.
No.
It's too much stuff, man.
That's what's beautiful. So we think we have a solid list of video games here. And why don't we start? Number 10, we have South Park: The Fractured But Whole. You're the one that's played the most.
I've beaten it. It's more, if you loved The Stick of Truth, you'll probably at least like this game, if not love it. It's more of what you love from the first game in terms of writing and the humor. Expect a lot of fart jokes, of course. It's actually up to date pretty much with the show in terms of like things it references, like medicinal fried chicken and things like that. The combat is deeper. I liked the more grid style system. The characters all felt different from each other. I kind of went into the combat assigning roles, especially because the combat does ramp up and get challenging. And they say at the beginning of the game, if you keep losing the combat, get better at the game. Because there is a difficulty level in terms of like how tough the enemies are, but there's no different strategies to use between different difficulties. It's just get good at the game.
Yeah, that's why I think that's the thing I like about this game a lot is just the deeper combat. Like The Stick of Truth was way too easy.
It was
way too simple.
It was fun, but it was simple.
Yeah,
too repetitive at the end.
Yeah, and this one just has a lot more variety to it, which I like. Mm-hmm. It's a cool game. It's still fun.
It's still. I mean, if you like the humor, you're gonna love this game.
Yeah. Number 9, Resident Evil 7.
Resident Evil 7 does the difficult job of taking a franchise that is well established for over the last decade, even more than that, and almost 2 decades, and reinventing it. Just making it first person changes it, but I think it's the best horror game I've played in years, probably since Silent Hill 2, just because ammo scarcity is something you have to worry about. It doesn't rely on jump scares. There are some, but it relies on atmosphere and just knowing that things are hunting you. And it has a fairly good narrative, I feel like. Yeah. It's a Resident Evil narrative, but like there's plot and events and that you follow and they kind of make sense. And how it ties in with the Resident Evil series is also really cool. I just enjoyed a lot of the game.
Did you fucks with the VR?
No. But I would love to experience it in VR for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, just understanding the layout of the house and even just the whole property and everything and finding secrets and being like, well, there's that door. Oh, 3 hours later, oh, now I know how to get in that area and all that stuff. It's a fantastic game. I would say that, towards the end it loses some of what made it special in the beginning. It turns a little bit more action. But man, that first, I don't know, 2/3 maybe, it's just on point. Number 8, Ghost Recon Wildlands.
It's you.
I feel like Ghost Recon Wildlands has kind of stepped up and filled that void of what, at least for me growing up, was like SOCOM and games like that. I felt like games like that sort of stopped happening. A lot of things were moving toward first person. A lot of shooters were trying to be like Call of Duty. It was nice that a game kind of came back. After The Division, there were some problems with The Division, but after, this style of game is coming back, shooting was, tight. Having a drone is really fun. The game is really simple and to the point, and it is what it is, but when you enjoy it and you start getting into it and taking out enemy by enemy and moving through a base, it's really systematic and kind of strategy based. It is you know, an Ubisoft game, so it's going around picking off enemies, marking them. But when you start having fun with it, it's really addicting. It's really tough to stop. It's fun just to spend some time in. Nothing in the game really pressures you to keep playing. I don't feel like the story is there that, you know, like a great story that makes you want to keep playing, but the gameplay is so fun that you just keep coming back and casually playing, and you feel like you're making progress. It's just a really fun game that I feel like is kind of a throwback to a lot of older games. It's just style of game doesn't really exist much anymore.
Yeah, it's an action movie, like straight up. Some of the ways a lot of the missions end up going down is like total action movie sort of shit. It's fun. I also really like the world. World is just beautiful. It's so huge, but it's just so fun to exist.
It's probably my favorite co-op experience from this year thus far.
For sure. Number 7, we have Hellblade. I think Hellblade's a very special experience. It's different compared to any like other action adventure games. It's a shorter game, but you know the combat is neat, and it does become kind of challenging, but it's not as deep as I feel like would have liked. But it doesn't need to really be deep or anything. But what makes this game special is the characters, how you know the whole mental health thing comes in, how that affects everything, and how you see the characters evolve, and just the story in general. I think is just fantastic, and it takes you through a lot of just incredible moments of, man, I have to sneak through this area and I can't see anything. Like, there's no lights around at all, no lighting or anything like that, and you have to sneak through the whole thing untouched. It's like, well, you kind of just got to use your senses and stuff like that. It's solid all around performance, and it's also, you know, it's a smaller game, but it's smaller budget. It's only $30, I think, but it's basically like it's a small AAA game, which I think this game can really shepherd in more of those sort of experiences. Play it with headphones. If you don't play this game with headphones, you're doing it wrong. Number 6, Night in the Woods. This is your personal game of the year.
Yeah. I feel like this is the best game I've played all year because it really stood out from the crowd. I think when you have, year after year, you have games that are about, you know, Ghost Recon, Wildlands, taking down a ruthless drug lord. Hellblade, like serious mental health, like kind of some horror aspects a little bit, dealing with that kind of thing. I don't know what's real, I don't know what's fake. It's stressful. It's a lot of anxiety on the player sometimes. You have Call of Duty, which is always things getting blown up, or a Battlefield game, or really any game out there. Even Mass Effect is about aliens trying to like wipe you out, or indoctrinate you. To have a game that's just as simple as a cat that's going to college but drops out because she's dealing with some mental health issues and comes home to like an economically challenged small former mining town just to hang out with her friends. It sounds so weird, but it works. It's really real at some points. Like, the game is funny, and it can go from being funny and you're enjoying the game to like it just slips into a real moment where you learn about the characters, and these characters really come to life. There are a lot of personality in the characters. There's replayability in the game to go back through and experience different storylines that you didn't get to go through the first time, collect certain things, you know, just get different lines of dialogue. It's really just sit down, relax, and play a game that's really awesome. And I don't think there are a lot of games like that around anymore. So that was my personal game of the year.
Number 5, we have Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. This game's really good.
It's an Uncharted game through and through, but where I think it shines, which is where a lot of these games shine, is the story and how so much of a focus it puts on Chloe. and learning about why she does what she does and stuff like that. And it has some moments, some of those like heart-wrenching moments that like I associate more with like The Last of Us and Uncharted 4, and they exist, and it kind of gets emotional. And then also at the same time, it's you're fucking running on something as it's falling off of a bridge, or you have to take out a helicopter or whatever the heck else. It is Uncharted 4 essentially, but I think that it's nice to see it with like new characters and seeing different dynamics between different characters, and it's a nice breath of fresh air.
Yeah, and I mean, the relationship between Chloe and Nadine is awesome in this game, and you know, I think it's not the best part of this game, but give Naughty Dog props for doing like an open world sort of section with Uncharted and trying something completely new with it. Thought that was interesting for sure. You know, I wonder if they'll apply that to The Last of Us Part 2 in any way, but who knows. But yeah, it's up there with like some of the best moments in the whole franchise. Some of the things that happen. Number 4, Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. Wolfenstein 2. What a game.
that's putting it very lightly.
This game is so ridiculous from start to finish, and ridiculous in like an extremely strong way. The characters are incredible, and they made BJ Blazkowicz one of the best characters in all of video games, which, coming out of the New Order, which had a cool story, I wasn't feeling that way, but, you know, as this game progressed, absolutely, and you get more of his backstory in with his parents and all that stuff, and all that stuff just leads to an incredible story. But also, like, the opening of this game just punches you square in the mouth with just ridiculous stuff, and it sets up a tone of this game that this game is very brutal, and it is not fucking around at all. And there's so many moments in this game that just make your jaw drop and just go, I cannot believe that just happened, or I cannot believe we're going here. And also, a lot of these cutscenes are so expertly like directed and edited, which I don't think about a lot in video games. Just, you know, I just don't think of it that much. But there's one later, about 3/4 of the way through the game, that just blew me away just by how well it was directed. It's like it could have just been a standard sort of cutscene, but they added that extra to it, and the gameplay is really good. I feel it's a little bit more towards, say, Doom this time around. It's way more fast-paced and everything, but it's still that ridiculous Wolfenstein of like, I have a sniper rifle in one hand and I have a fucking machine gun in the other hand, and I'm just going to go to town and wreck everything, and it's very cool.
Yeah, this is a game that manages to somehow balance being a mature, gritty game, but then also being a fun game. You go from having a dude tripping on like LSD or taking out Nazis in a wheelchair to dealing with issues of like, you know, racism, domestic abuse, and you know, the aftermath of like a nuclear bomb, and it's like, and it's and then the combat it's fun. It's maybe the only negative I'm going to throw in, which is I think that it adds the Doom stuff in without accounting for the fact that, like, you know, ammo and stuff like that in Doom is in a big box. It's really easy to see and really easy to just pick up, whereas everything's still really tiny in this game. But that's just a minor complaint on my part. But it's just fun, especially once you start unlocking like other abilities, like how to play. It's like,
and you get bigger guns, and you upgrade those big guns to bigger guns.
It's like just different powers. It's great.
Yeah. Number 3, Super Mario Odyssey. This is your game of the year.
This was my game of the year. It's like, and I know a lot of people probably think it's a Mario game, but at the same time, I don't know how Mario can go back from this. Like, I feel like this game changes how Mario works so much. Just the simple thing of, you throw a hat instead of throwing a fireball. And now it's like, but when you throw that hat, now you can take over things. And it just changes how you have to think about levels. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, every level has this unique mechanic. And even sometimes mixing them, when you start getting the later game, you got to be able to do this here and then go do this over here. It's such a fun game. And I'm not normally a fan of like collectathon games, which is what this game kind of turns into once you beat it. But like, but it's fun. Like going through and finding all of the moods is a collectathon.
Yeah.
And it probably has one of my favorite moments in gaming in a long time. And I'm going to describe it in a way that, non-spoilery, that some people might understand. I'm going to spoil one game, so I'm going to spoil the ending of Portal 2. You play Portal 2 and you're doing the final boss fight.
Lunacy.
And the ceiling opens up and you're looking at the moon and you go, no. And then you shoot the moon and then the ending happens. There is a moment that is just as good at the end of this game where you're just like, no. And then it's the best part of the whole game. And it's my favorite section. Like,
it's something where you go, they just did that in a Mario game.
And then also at the end of it, I'm like, how did I not see that this was going to happen? It's such a great thing. And it's honestly just the most fun game I've played.
It's incredibly creative, and I felt so excited to go to each new world, see what they're about. But even in those worlds of every boss fight felt pretty cool. I mean, they reuse some of them, but still, they're extremely fun to play. And they're, it's always kind of like, well, I see that over there. How do I get to it? And you can always get to it. There's always a way to get there. It's fantastic. Number 2, we have Horizon Zero Dawn.
I mean, I'll take it. I guess I haven't really spoken much since I haven't spoken since number 10, really. This was actually flippable with my Game of the Year, which actually kind of ended up being our Game of the Year. But Horizon Zero Dawn, to me, I mean, I personally love any sort of most RPGs. I'm not gonna say all, but most RPGs. Alright, show me what I gotta do. I'll probably roll with it, at least for a little while. There was something about the world of Horizon that drew me in. The art style, the Aloy, I'll say specifically Aloy as a character, mainly because a lot of the secondary characters were kind of forgettable. But there were just so many great moments, like exploring your first cauldron, or your first, clearing out your first corrupted zone, and, having all these hostile machines around you, and here you are in this tiny little patch of tall grass, and having to figure out, okay, how am I going to work my way out of this? Just using, flipping between different, tools. I thought that UI was actually very smartly done, because it allowed for very almost seamless combat, I would say.
I mean, it allowed you to. It's a combat where you have to think very quickly.
Yeah,
that allowed it.
But you could adapt. Yeah, maybe adapt is more. It allowed for more fluid scenarios. But it had a fantastic story for an open world game, and that is really what drew me to it.
Yeah, I mean, the story is really well done, I think, and the mystery of this world is like, well, where am I, and why is this way? Why is there machines running around? And the more you discover about it, the more you're like, wow, this is actually really, really fucking well done. I'll never forget the first time I fought. I'm blanking on them, but they're the giant bird creatures. Do you remember what they're called?
I think they're called like Thunderbirds?
Stormbirds, yeah.
There you go.
I'll never forget
fighting
them for the first time. Just the first one, I was up on this fucking mountain, and there's snow everywhere, and it was just, the fight lasted like 15 minutes, but there were so many times where I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm going to get this, but eventually got it. It's just this very intense combat that I like, that you have to think like that. It's great. It's the most beautiful game I've ever played.
One of the, yeah.
Holy shit. And Death Stranding's going to be running on this end. Like, whoa, that'll be cool.
Yeah. Anyway, it's time.
Yeah. The game of the year for us this year is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Unsurprisingly, in a way. This game's been sweeping all
awards everywhere.
Awards, for the most part. But
I'd say deservingly so. I mean,
yeah, 100%. And to me, this is my game of the year, because it just does so many things right. One, like, I've never fully been blown away by a Zelda game. I think they're cool, but they're not these like greatest fucking games of all time to me. But this game takes just about everything that really annoyed me about Zelda and throws it out the fucking window.
This game took everything
This is
about
Zelda.
Zelda and threw it out the window.
Pretty much. And right away, like, I love the starting area. The starting area, I think, is one of the best tutorials of all time, in a way. Because they just throw you out there and they're like, alright, go figure it out. And they, over time, teach you literally everything you need in this world, right in this small little area. And then they let you go. And it's like one of the biggest gaming worlds, and gaming worlds is goofy. One of the biggest game worlds, and you're just constantly discovering stuff, and you're all doing it on your own. The game very rarely tells you where to go, even if you have a main quest.
They won't tell you where to go.
Most of the
How to get
time,
there.
it doesn't. Yeah, and so it's you figuring out that looks interesting. I want to go over there, or I see a shrine over there. I'm going to mark that, and I see another one over there. I'm going to mark that.
There's
I'm
no
actually going to get over there.
And the fact that there's no like level locks or leveling between areas. It's like, can I survive here? I don't know. We're gonna find out, I guess.
Yeah, but that whole kind of gameplay loop in an open world of play how you want sort of thing is just how I want to play every open world game now. Just kind of do it at my own pace, do whatever I want, go wherever I want, do things in whatever order I want.
Can you imagine
It's
Skyrim
exciting.
if you could climb like in Breath of the Wild?
That'd be cool.
Like, oh my god, how many?
It would take away some of
that
that.
climb. It's just repeatedly pressing jump.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Just out of mountains.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, imagine
we
how
wouldn't
much
have the
easier
fun.
it would have been. Just
We wouldn't have the fun of being able to use the term Skyrim up a mountain.
And you know what? I'm glad they did not put the hook shots.
Can't do
in
that
this
in
game.
a Bethesda game engine, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, come on. Those games barely handle the games. That engine barely handles the game itself. You want them to be able to climb. I just think that Zelda is probably the best RPG that I've played in like forever. Just because again, that freedom. If you want, you could leave the starting area and be like, "All right, Ganon, I'm coming for you."
Yeah.
And you could go and you could totally do that. It
You're
might not
probably
end
gonna
well,
die a
but
lot.
you can do that, and it's so cool. Where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna level up, but like, yeah, this main quest, I'm not doing that. Or it's like I can go through so much of the game. It's like, yeah, I'm just not gonna fight Ganon. That's just not how I want to play this game.
I'm confused about something. This is like a thing that people. I'm not trying to like take away from Game of the Year, but this is the thing that people compliment Zelda for. Didn't Skyrim do that like 6 years ago, where you could like go wherever and do whatever?
But you could, like, fighting the final boss was locked behind a quest line and things like
Yeah,
that.
but
you can
isn't
literally
this
just
kind of
walk
locked behind some progression? Like you said,
No.
you can't just go there.
You can
or
go
get,
right to
whooped.
Ganon.
Yeah,
you
you
get
can-
your ass kicked, but you can
But-
get
but-
right
but if you-
But technically, then you have to level up, and it's in a way it's locked behind.
People,
Kind of
No,
playing
people
it.
have beaten Ganon like bare bones. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're going in and just like, you know what, fuck
But,
him, I'm doing
yeah.
this. It's like, I think it's just the fact that there's not like a, if you want to go face Ganon, okay, fine, you have to do stuff, but whatever that is, you can go do whatever you want to do.
And I'm
Like-
pretty sure Skyrim won our Game of the Year back in
No,
2011.
I'm just saying, like, at least a lot of what I've heard about Zelda is like you can do whatever you do, but like that's not a new thing.
Well,
Is there anything I'm confused
it
about?
takes absolutely things from Skyrim, but then it takes the things that are great about Zelda and it fuses both of them together. Because one thing that's great about Zelda games is figuring shit out on your own.
Exploration,
and then things,
discovery.
when that light bulb goes
Yes.
off, you're like, shit, except it's the whole world now. Literally. Like, the whole world is that puzzle, and you're just figuring out how to fucking do everything.
Okay, like how am I supposed to open up this shrine? There's something over here that I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Alright, let me just look around. Okay, cool.
And
Or, alright, there's a boss.
I guess it's just the way people have been describing it.
Yeah.
I think like other games have done that before.
Yeah, the 5-second review sounds a lot like other games.
Yeah.
But it's like, I would even say it's more open than Skyrim. Because at least Skyrim, then, at least if you want to get to any certain spot, you have to go through the quest line. You don't have to do none of that. If you want to do this, you do it. And there's
Pick up
not,
a pot and run through a wall.
yeah.
Logic.
But I don't think I felt this way about a Zelda game since like A Link Between Worlds. Like this just felt different. I mean, Link Between Worlds, it was still, you know, the top-down 2D sort of thing, but the mechanics of like the wall, like the wall sticking and traversing through portals that way and using that for puzzles. Felt fresh. It felt different. It felt different from like Minish Cap and Four Swords and all those. It brought something different to the gameplay, whereas this just kind of took everything and flipped it on its head. The crafting feels intuitive.
Crafting is fun. I like that stuff.
I've spent hours just cooking.
Mhm.
The only thing I would have to add to it is also it's like a console game that you can play on the go.
Exactly.
It's pretty
Yeah.
big.
The first time I was playing it on Switch, and I was just standing on top of the hill, and there's this fucking beautiful field out there, and the sun's setting, and it's just this. I'm only in this small, tiny section, but it feels so huge. And
Yeah.
it feels like there's just so much that I want to see and do, and I go, wow, like this is on a.
This is on a handheld. I'm on the toilet right now, and I'm doing
Exactly.
Yeah.
But even like I think this game legitimately has a pretty solid story for a Zelda game.
Yeah.
And it had this cool something totally different. Yeah. But discovering the memories and discovering what happened in the past, I was like, I actually really care about this stuff, and it's very interesting to me. And I will say, once you do all the Divine Beast, and then you go try to kill Ganon, one of the most epic fucking things I've ever done. Like, going through that Hyrule Castle was just phenomenal. There's so much cool shit in there, and the music's just fucking
I was gonna say the
thundering and the
music throughout this
boss
whole
fight.
game. The
You
music,
can
like
lack
the-
of it sometimes.
Yes, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like just the simple
Yeah,
lack of
or
sound.
even
track
like
even.
just the feeling of life when you're just walking through
Yeah.
the forest.
Or you'll hear like the little bit of like the little piano and then just go on and it's just so good, man.
It's a magical experience. It honestly is. I think there's a lot of shit that modern games can look at with this and
Learn something.
learn something. Yeah. Fucking Nintendo had a killer year, man.
Yeah. Well, and it's weird to say that. It feels
It's
weird
good,
to
though.
say that Nintendo, like, it's been a long time coming and they've needed it.
Yeah, that's it. Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild is our game of the year. Any quick shout outs, real quick? We don't really talk about it, just shout out. Cuphead.
Cuphead, absolutely.
Outlast 2 was pretty good.
Pyre, or like Indy's Golf Story.
I feel like just because it got moved down the list so much, it kind of at least warrants a mention. Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 was on this
like-
list, and it just went slowly got kicked off. So
Shout out to SteamWorld Dig 2. I mean, what a gameplay loop that game. It's amazing on Switch. I don't know why the fuck anyone would ever play that game on PS4, Xbox, or PC. 'Cause, man, on Switch, that's a good shit.
Shout out to EA for stealing the year. Biggest news story of the year,
Yeah, kind of.
I guess.
They didn't have a good year.
No.
I mean, between Battlefront 2
Mass
and Mass
Effect.
Effect.
I think Ubisoft, for me, in a lot of ways, stole the year.
Yeah.
Like, they had a good
Yeah.
E3, they
Seemed
put
like-
out solid games
Like,
for the
yeah.
most part.
They've
I
been
mean,
quietly.
I would even say, it's not the best game. I would say Assassin's Creed is the most solid it's been in a little while.
Yeah.
I would say.
Origins was buggy as fuck. I was just about to say that game is buggy as fuck. It's
Game's
long.
Shit.
It's kind of boring. But they improved Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Well, what they did is they changed it, and I think they have something that they can totally build upon to make it does feel different.
I
from
mean, if
Assassin's
they put out another Syndicate, I wouldn't have had any interest like Syndicate or Unity. I wouldn't have played it at all. So I mean, it was a step in the right direction.
I'll be honest, with some of the boss fights in Assassin's Creed Origins, I was like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. I haven't felt that in Assassin's Creed in a long time. There's one towards the end that's just so fucking amazing to play. Also, shout out to Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle on Switch. That game is great. Also, that's what I'm going to say. Shout out to Snipper Clips.
Snipper Clips is a great
Why not
studio.
Arms?
What a game.
There was a bunch of
Nine
co-op
Arms.
stuff this year.
Fucker.
What games did I? No, that's all the games I care about.
Yeah,
Little
it's
Nightmares
great
was
year.
good. And that's kind of big coming from me.
Mhm.
I don't really like that style of game, but I thought it was pretty good.
That's it. Let's know what your game of the year is. 2017.
Wrapping up.
See you later.